Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been following the Golden Path strategy, you've worked through the steps, building awareness, creating resilience, and getting into that growth phase with your first assets. The whole system is basically built.
Exactly. We've laid out the framework, the what, when, and how of building that freedom. But today, we need to focus on something more fundamental. It's the principle that runs in parallel to all the other steps.
It's the glue that holds it all together.
It really is.
We're talking about continuous, focused learning. You could say if the Golden Path has 12 steps, this is kind of the unwritten step 13, the one you do for life.
And that's our mission today, really, to get you to internalize that learning isn't just a phase you get through, like, paying off a credit card. It's a prominent tool. It's your primary defense.
A defense against what, exactly?
Catastrophe. It's
Right.
catastrophe prevention.
Okay, let's start there, because this gets to a hard truth, one that's often painful for people to accept. Most people who try to invest, who try to build wealth, they end up losing money, or at least they don't get where they want to go. And the first reaction is always to blame something external.
Oh, always. It's bad luck. The market's rigged. It was an unfair system. We hear it all the time.
But that's not what the data on successful people shows, is it?
Not at all. The analysis reveals a really simple, if uncomfortable, truth. Financial loss is almost never about bad luck. It's almost always traceable back to a lack of knowledge.
So people are making big moves.
Huge moves. They're taking significant financial action without actually understanding the game they're playing. They don't know the rules. They don't know the forces at work.
I like the analogy that money is a language. And if you don't speak the language, you're constantly paying translators, whether you realize it or not.
That's it, exactly. You are, by definition, paying those who do speak the language. If you're operating on a guess or a hot tip from a friend, you're at a deficit from the start.
So learning is what makes you the architect of the system, not just a tenant who's, vulnerable when things change.
Precisely.
Okay, but then what's the trap? Why do people stop learning? You see it all the time. Someone finishes their degree or they have one big success and they just stop.
It's the trap of stasis. They think they've arrived, they get the big job, they finish the MBA, they flip their first house successfully, and they believe the learning part is over. They go into what they see as maintenance mode.
But maintenance mode doesn't work if the world outside is changing.
Right.
That just guarantees failure if you're aiming for true financial independence.
It guarantees you'll fall behind. Erosion is a guarantee. I mean, the financial world is anything but static. It's dynamic. It's volatile.
What does that mean in practical terms?
Well, think about it. Regulations shift constantly. Tax laws get rewritten. New technologies pop up and create completely new asset classes. I mean, who was talking about digital currencies in a serious way 15 years ago?
And at the same time, old reliable assets can suddenly become less reliable.
Or just totally irrelevant. The strategic point for you listening is this. What worked 10 years ago might be a terrible idea today. And the asset you just bought today might be completely inefficient in 5 years if you're not paying attention.
So you're basically trying to use an old map to navigate a new city. You're operating with static knowledge in a dynamic environment.
And you will get lost. Standing still means losing ground. Your system has to be a living thing, constantly taking in new data.
This brings us to a really core principle of the Golden Path strategy. It's this idea that you don't act to learn, you learn to act.
And that distinction is everything. The common mistake is to just jump in. I'll figure it out as I go. People buy a stock because they heard about it at a party.
They're learning through their losses.
Which is the most expensive tuition on earth. The money they lose is just a transfer payment to the people who took the time to understand the system beforehand.
So learning is the strategic tool that comes before every single action. What are the benefits of that beyond just not losing money?
The benefits are huge. It reduces your risk because you see the blind spots. It makes your decisions better because they're based on clarity, not hype or fear. And crucially, it lets you, the asset owner, spot risks early.
You see the storm coming before it hits.
Exactly. You see the regulatory change on the horizon or the technology that's about to make your asset obsolete, and you can adapt before it becomes a catastrophe.
I think the best way to understand this is to look at the personal story of the system's architect, Tamir Hachem. We know he achieved financial independence pretty early on.
That's right. But the key thing, the thing to really internalize, is that he didn't stop learning when he hit FI. He's 67 now, and he is still studying, still exploring new asset classes, new regulatory environments.
So financial independence isn't a permanent vacation from learning.
It's the opposite. It demands lifelong adaptation.
Can we look at a concrete example of that? Of him adapting?
Yeah, a great one is his early asset choices. At first, he went for what felt intuitive physical things, like investment real estate. And he also created some intellectual property, translating a classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It was generating income. It worked.
But he didn't stick with it. Why not? If it's making money, why change?
Because continuous learning means you have to be objective, even about your own successes. He looked at the numbers, at the metrics, and he realized the book translation, while it was functional, was, in his words, insufficiently effective.
What does that mean?
The leverage was low, there was a cap on how much it could earn. The data forced him to ask, is this really the best use of my time and capital right now?
And the data said no.
The data said no. So the learning principle forced him to pivot. He shifted his focus to a digital asset, the financial education work, the YouTube channel. It offered orders of magnitude more leverage, more scale, more reach.
Wow, so that's a tough move. To let go of something that's already successful because the data shows something else could be more successful, that takes zero emotional attachment.
That's it. You have to be willing to be wrong about your past choices, even the good ones. Sticking with something just out of habit is a violation of the principle.
Okay, so we've established the why. Continuous learning is mandatory. The next question for anyone listening is, what exactly am I supposed to be learning? It's not about chasing stock tips, is it?
Absolutely not. That's the exact behavior we're trying to stop. The focus has to be on learning the entire language of money, the deep foundational topics that apply to every market and every decision.
Let's break that down. What are the core subjects in that curriculum?
We can boil it down to 6 critical areas. First is definition. Truly deeply understanding the difference between an asset, something that generates positive cash flow, and a liability, which creates negative cash flow.
That seems so basic, but people get it wrong all the time.
Yeah.
The classic example is your house. Is it an asset or a liability?
Perfect example. Most people call it their biggest asset, but if it has a mortgage, taxes, and maintenance costs, and generates no income, it's functioning as a liability. You have to use the technical definition, not the social one.
Okay, what's the second area?
Second is protection, risk management. This isn't just about getting homeowners insurance. It's about understanding legal structures, estate planning, different kinds of liability shields.
Knowing the right tool for the right risk.
Exactly. You have to know how to build a firewall around the things you've worked so hard to acquire.
Makes sense. Third area is allocation.
Right. This is about the tension between diversification and focus. We're always told to diversify everything, but, most great wealth is built by focusing intensely on one area first.
So the learning is about when to focus for growth and when to diversify for defense.
Yes, and knowing how to shift between those two strategies based on where you are on the golden path, it's not one size fits all.
Okay, number 4 is flows.
Cash flow, the engine of the whole system. Learning not just how much comes in, but where every single dollar goes and how to redirect waste back into assets that work for you.
The engine room. Got it.
Yeah.
What about things outside our control?
That's number 5. External forces. This is about learning regulation, tax policy, monetary policy. The biggest threats to your wealth often don't come from a market crash. They come from a change in legislation.
So you have to be able to read the political and economic weather.
You have to, or you'll be blindsided when a rule change makes your best asset suddenly worthless.
And finally, the 6th area, which feels like it underpins everything else, internal forces.
This is financial psychology. It's about you. If you don't understand your own biases, your fear, your greed, your FOMO, then all the technical knowledge in the world won't save you. You have to learn your own mind.
Because the best designed system will still fail if the operator panics at the wrong moment.
The human element is always the weakest link. So learning the language of money also means learning the behavior of money.
That's a huge list. Definition, protection, allocation flows, external and internal forces. The good news, I guess, is that this knowledge is everywhere now. Books, courses, YouTube.
Accessibility is not the problem anymore. You're right. The real challenge now requires discipline in 3 areas: choice, focus, and consistency.
Because the mistake is trying to learn everything at once.
Totally. You get stuck in analysis paralysis. You try to become an expert on real estate and crypto and commodities all at the same time, and you end up doing nothing.
So how should learning be structured?
It has to be intentional. Focus on one domain that's relevant to your very next step. Give yourself a time limit, say 2 weeks, not forever, and connect it to a clear action. You're learning to do something, not just to know something.
So bringing this all together, what's the long-term result of this commitment?
It creates a feedback loop. It proves that financial independence isn't a final destination. The loop is. Learning leads to understanding, which allows for action. That action creates results which demand adaptation, and that, in turn, forces you back to relearning.
It's a cycle.
It's a continuous, self-correcting cycle. It's what keeps your system alive and resilient in a world that is defined by change. In the long run, learning isn't just an advantage, it's a condition for survival.
And it brings us back to the start. Most losses are not bad luck. They're a knowledge problem.
Your commitment to knowledge is the best insurance you can buy for your financial future, and it's the cheapest.
So we'll leave you with a provocative thought, something to do right now. Based on where you are in the golden path, choose one specific financial domain. Just one.
And make it really specific. Don't just say real estate. Say local rental regulations in my specific city, or the tax implications of dividend income.
Then define a short, time-limited period to learn about it. 2 weeks, maybe a month, and commit to learning the language of that one field, the rules, the risks, the key players, before you take a single action.
That single act, that intentional commitment to knowledge before action, that is the true beginning of the next phase of your freedom.